We begin today with a stunning development in the criminal quadruple murder case against Bryan Kohberger, the man accused of killing 4 college students in Idaho. Late yesterday evening, prosecutors sent a letter to the family members of the victims telling them Kohberger has accepted a plea deal. According to at least some of the families, they feel blindsided by this deal. Kohberger's murder trial was set to begin in August, but now it has all come to an abrupt, unexpected end. And I don't blame these families for feeling shocked and disappointed. They actually don't want this. They wanted the death penalty. They think the case is open and shut. They want to see cross-examinations and see the case tested and have what happened fully fleshed out in front of a jury in a way that you'll just never get now. You'll just never get. They didn't think they needed his plea to get to a guilty verdict, and they feel like they were not consulted. It is now likely that some of the major questions in this case, like why he did this, will never be fully known. According to the letter sent to the families, Kohberger will be sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences on the murder counts, life without the possibility of parole. So he will never see the light of day. But the family of Kaylee Gonsalves, they had been pressing prosecutors to pursue the death penalty. They had actually pushed to expand the state's capital punishment rules to allow executions by firing squad. That is the kind of justice they wanted. From the very beginning, this was a case that captured the nation's attention in its brutality, its unique, indifference to human life. And this show has been following it from those early days. It is hard to describe just how heinous this crime was, but journalist Howard Bloom, who writes for Airmail, has tried. These are passages from an article he wrote in January 2023, just a few months after the murders that took place in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, in the college town of Moscow, Idaho. Bloom writing, quote, "In the heavy quiet of the new Sunday morning, 4 young corpses, all students, all friends, were found hacked to death in their beds in a pale, clapboard house, little more than a stone's throw away from the heart of the university campus. There was so much blood, it had seeped through the wooden floors and run down the building's gray concrete foundation in jagged red rivulets. And when police arrived," Bloom continued, "a cluster of young people, university students presumably, were milling outside the open front door, and yet they were exceptionally quiet. They were not merely subdued, they seemed stunned, as if drained by a deep and intense shock. When the 3 mystified officers approached the front door, someone in the crowd, it would later be shared, muttered a single plaintive word: dead." And Bloom wrote about this, about the officers who were first to arrive on the scene. Quote, "Sergeant Shane Gunderson would confess to others he was unprepared for the strong smell of blood that rose up in his nostrils the moment he walked inside. The coroner, who had once been an emergency room nurse in an earlier stage of her life, would describe the scene in press interviews as chaos, lots of blood. Few others would even attempt to put into words what they saw. There are moments, cops will tell you, that are too profound, too unnerving to be experienced in the present." The victims that night were Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonsalves, both 21 years old. They were inseparable, best friends since the 6th grade. They died together in the same bed. Also Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin, both 20 years old. They were girlfriend and boyfriend. According to a recent Dateline special, Ethan Chapin appeared to be the last of the 4 to be murdered. Sources close to the investigation telling NBC he was believed to be asleep in bed before his death and that Kohberger carved his lower legs with a blade. 2 roommates survived that night. The house had 6 roommates in all, 6 sleeping there. And they were expected to testify at trial. You remember they did not call the police until the next morning around noon, or they called friends who called the police, even though this had happened at 4 a.m. And there has been a lot of speculation about what they would testify to, whether they would be helpful, or whether they are just so far gone as a result of this whole thing that they wouldn't be of much use. There is no word yet on how they feel about this plea deal, but you can surmise, I'm just going to guess, they're both very relieved. According to that Dateline special, which was so explosive, it caused the defense to move for the trial to be delayed, saying they just took too much of the prosecution's case has been aired and shared against the gag order, and it's stunning, and it's all terrible for Kohberger. By the way, the judge did not grant that, but the Dateline special had a lot. And according to it, Bryan Kohberger in November 2022, this is right around the time of the murder, had searched the internet for information about infamous serial killer Ted Bundy and made a number of searches for pornography with the keywords drugged, sleeping, and passed out. And then after the murders, he took this creepy selfie. Look at this. For the listening audience, it's him wearing a black hoodie sweatshirt. It's like identical to an infamous shot of Ted Bundy. He looks so creepy, and it comes on the heels of another one he took that morning, the morning after the murders, where he was in a white button-down shirt in front of a shower, looking as pasty and pale as a human being can be while still alive, and this bizarre smile into the camera, which seems to, with a thumbs up, almost to be telegraphing, I did it. He looks almost proud of himself. And now he says to us all, I did it. I did it. When first arrested, when dragged into court, he refused to say the words, not guilty. He refused to speak, which will have the judge enter a plea for you. And the judge said, okay, so it's not guilty. And assent was indicated, and that's what plea was entered. So he has been denying that he did it all along, as you know. And now, today, we learn he's prepared to walk into court tomorrow, Wednesday, which has also shocked the families because they don't all live right in this area. They need time to get there, to get plane tickets, to show up. We'll see if that gets extended. And say, I did it. I committed quadruple murder. The plea deal requires him to waive his right to appeal. There is a hearing again right now scheduled for tomorrow. But Kaylee Gonsalves' father, who I believe is the only one to speak out so far, Steve, is hoping the judge will not sanction the deal.
He's guilty. We all know he's guilty. There's more than enough evidence. But it's tough. It's tough to put a community through this. And it could be bad for reputations and business identities. And there's fallout. But this isn't the will of the victims. I ask your audience if anybody knows Judge Hippler, reach out to him and ask him to put his foot down and not accept this offer. It doesn't reflect anything in Idaho. This is not justice. We had an outsider come to our community, kill our kids in their sleep while they're getting a college education, doing everything that they should do, and we don't have the courage to hold him accountable. No plea deal. Let's go for this guy. 100%. Let's do it.
On News Nation with Ashley Banfield last night. Since President Trump was sworn in, his administration has made enormous progress at a breakneck pace. But don't forget, while they are moving mountains for the good of the nation, you've got your personal savings to worry about. And one of the best ways to look after your savings is through diversification, particularly with gold, like from Birch Gold Group. In the past 12 months, the value of gold has increased by 40%. And Birch was an advertiser on this show 12 months ago. If you had purchased then, you'd be 40% richer today. Now's the time. Central banks continue to bolster demand for gold by burying in record quantities. Global instability and tension is high, and Birch Gold makes owning physical gold so easy. Easily convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold, or buy some to store in your home safe. Just text MK to the number 989898, and Birch Gold is going to send you a free info kit on gold. Look into it. See if it's right for you. There's no obligation, just useful information to help you make a decision. With an A+ rating With a Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of happy customers, take control of your savings today. Text MK to 989898. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.